Welcome, self-seekers. Noam here, Brooklyn, New York, July 7th, 2025, and today's subject is self-image. Based on your requests and the previous video in which I spoke about self-doubt, the self-image is intertwined with self-doubt, with self-worth. And we're going to start diving in there to make some sense out of it. To begin with, let's just understand how it works. Our self-image is the buffer zone, how I see myself and how I want to be seen to the world at large. And that buffer zone, there's a gatekeeper, and that gatekeeper is your ego. The role of the ego is to protect you from what? Protect you from your thoughts and your feelings. There's two possibilities with the self-image that are quite clear. Either it's a positive self-image or a negative self-image. Duality. Positive self-image, you feel secure about yourself, you feel motivated, you can set goals, you're inspired, healthy connections. If you have a negative self-image, exactly the opposite. You feel less than. Your body image doesn't resonate. You don't like how you look. You find yourself in unhealthy relationships. You feel unworthy. In order to go deeper, we need to backtrack to our childhood. The self-image is informed by your childhood experiences. How were you treated at home by your parents, your friends, family, co-workers? Were there any traumas that shaped your self-image? All these experiences contribute to your self-image that you carry on primarily for the rest of your life until you're able to interject or interrupt that pattern and speak to the gatekeeper and say, hey, let's have a discussion. That will be in the next video. Our self-image dictates our actions in the present. If I feel less than, I'm not going to put myself out there. For example, social media. You look at social media and you see all these beautiful faces smiling, tailoring their experiences. They were there, they weren't there, to their travels, to their fine dining, and they're trying to create this hologram, this image for the world at large so that they feel validated, safe, and secure so that eventually they can love and accept themselves. Now, there's a gap there a lot of times because the external validation never fills that gap. It only exasperates it because you get 200 likes. No, I need to get more. You don't get enough likes, then I'm still not worth it. Your self-image, positive or negative, will impact how you interact in the present moment. And I'm a coach. I love coaching. It gives me meaning and purpose, and I'm very good at it. And I continue to grow my skills and my abilities to communicate. And as I build these tools and skills and tap into my gifts, my self-image becomes more in alignment and I can keep moving towards the possibilities. Alternatively, if I have a negative self-image, there's a couple of ways it can go. One is I'm going to hide, I'm going to avoid because I don't feel good about how I look. I don't feel good about how I communicate with people, and therefore I will block myself from being out in the real world. There's another possibility, and that's the imposter syndrome, to try to compensate. And we've all run into that person who tries to be funny. They really they appreciate people who are funny, but they're not funny. And everyone around them realizes that they're not funny. And the second possibility is overcompensating. Or, as we said, trying to get the validation from the outside. And what does that look like? You apply for a job or you request a raise and you don't get it. What happens to your self-image? Goes down? What happens with the funny guy, though, that wants everyone to laugh at their jokes and everyone's looking around and like, that's not funny. But they keep trying and trying and trying. There's a gap between how they see themselves or want to see themselves and how they project into the real world. And this gap is the opportunity. When one is aware of their self-image, how they see themselves, how they want to be seen, and they realize they have certain gifts, they don't have others. They can keep trying to get those gifts. In my experience, it usually doesn't work. Once in a blue moon, it does. But for the most part, there are certain areas where you're better off investing your time and energy into your gifts and talents than trying to be something that you're not. If you're not charismatic, you can be responsible for as many people as you want, but when push comes to shove, you don't have the charisma, and that exasperates the gap. In our next video, we'll discuss how we can close that gap. Observation, mindfulness, realignment, so that the external and the internal image are more in alignment. And it is a practice. Have any suggestions about topics that you'd like to hear about? Feel free to drop them below or to send me a DM. See you next time.